Hi friend, welcome to my channel. Hope all is well. Today I'm about to change your life with this jerk salmon pasta recipe. Whoo child, you don't want to miss this. Stay tuned. All right, friend, let's jump right into it. So here I have a pot on the stove at high heat 7-8, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add one chicken flavored bouillon cube, also known as Maggie, and we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put that in there so we could give the pasta some flavor. Once you cooking that pasta and some flavor, it's bound to be good because you have a head start. And I also add a little bit of oil to help it not stick, and we're gonna leave that water on the stove so it can boil. While that water is boiling, or we're waiting on it to boil, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna remove the skin off the salmon. So you see how I'm taking it off. I'm just going ahead and I'm pulling it right off, and it's coming right off. If you do like the skin on your salmon, then just go ahead and leave it on. Make sure you scale it. Make sure you scale it, okay? Because there are scales on it. So if you're leaving your skin on, make sure you scale it. But for this recipe, I am removing the skin. And you see, as I get towards the end, I was a little rough, and I kind of teared the salmon a little bit because towards the end of the salmon, it starts to thinning. The salmon is not as thick as it is on the other side, okay? I wanted to make sure I show y'all that I am not perfect, friends. So when you're doing yours and it's not perfect, it's okay. Go ahead, we're going to cut it up. You could cut it up how big or how small you want, baby. That's your business. It all depends on what size of fish you want when you plating it, or how big you want the fish to be when you plating it, okay? So just make sure you cut it up. It's crazy to me how I got these salmon in the same place, but they look different. They don't even look like cousins. They look like long lost cousins. Child. Anywho, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna grab one lemon, and we're gonna use a half of lemon on each side to clean the salmon. And what I mean by clean is to take some of that fishy smell away. You don't want to feel like you eating the sea. You don't want to feel like you just jumped in the ocean and just took a bite of the ocean. You want it to actually taste good. So you just want to go ahead and you want to clean it with the lemon juice, okay? And I'm going to let you know, if you don't want to do that part, baby, that's your business. That's your business, but I like to clean mine, and that's my business. All right, then we're going to go ahead, we're going to grab the other piece of lemon, and we're going to squeeze it. We're going to do the same exact thing that we did to the prior side, okay? Next, we're gonna go ahead and go back to the water. It should be boiling by now, and we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna add our pasta. I'm using Penne. You can use whatever kind of pasta you so desire, and you can use whatever brand you so desire. Follow the recipe on the back of the box, and it will let you know how long to cook it for. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna mix it, because you do know pasta likes to stick together, so you're gonna mix it so they don't clump up. But then we're gonna go back to our salmon, and we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna rinse off our salmon. We're going to rinse off the lemon that we put on there. We're going to take off any lemon seeds that's on there. And we're just cleaning the salmon. I like to clean my meat because every time you take your meat out of the bag or whatever they put it in, it's so slimy and it just looks disgusting. Any kind of meat need to be cleaned before it goes in my mouth. And I ain't just talking about food. Then I'm going to go ahead and drain my pasta because it was done cooking. And then I went ahead and I put it into my big old bowl. And then besides of adding regular butter, I added garlic butter, okay? But you could use regular butter, garlic butter, just you make sure you use that salted butter, okay? Because we need some flavor in our food, all right? All right. And of course, we're going to mix it all together. And the reason we're adding the butter is so that the pasta don't clump up and stick together. Because pasta, they love to be a family. It's going to stick beside them. Pasta is that's mine, and I'm going to stick beside them. Unlike me, because as soon as I find out you was talking to what you gonna call it, I'm going to hit up with I ain't pasta. I ain't going to stick beside them. All right. Then we're going to go ahead. We're going to grab our salmon. We're going to pat it dry. We want it to be dry like the Savannah Desert. We want it to be dry. Like you ask your friend for $200 to pay the light bill, and he said, I'm gonna see what I could do. Friend, it's just over. I don't think it's even gonna work out between us because I'm all dried up. Let me tell you something. If nobody else tell you, once a man say, I'm gonna see what I could do, it's about to be some BS. I'm trying to tell you. Then we're going to go ahead. We're going to add some extra virgin olive oil. We're going to add 1 tablespoon to each side of our salmon. And we're going to go ahead and marinate that in there. And the reason why we're doing this is because Oil is going to make the seasoning stick until the salmon much more easier. That's why we're adding that extra virgin olive oil on there. We're going to go ahead. We're going to grab our jerk seasoning. We're going to put 1 tablespoon on this side. And we're going to go ahead. We're going to massage it into there. We're going to flip it over, put 1 tablespoon and do the same. Then we're going to grab our jerk marinade. And we're going to use a 1/2 cup of jerk marinade. And we're going to use it for both sides. We're going to go ahead. We're going to massage it into the salmon. We're going to flip the salmon over. We're going to put some more of that marinade on there, and we're gonna go ahead, we're going to massage it into the salmon as well. Okay, you want it to be it's gonna be very moist, and it's gonna make it taste very delicious. Okay, this is how you do it. Massage it, show love to the salmon so the salmon can show love to you when it's time to eat it. Don't mistreat the salmon, because it's gonna mistreat you. I'm trying to tell you. Then we're going to go ahead. We're going to grab some garlic powder. We're going to grab some onion powder. We're going to grab some black pepper and some paprika. And we're going to put about 1/4 teaspoon of that on the salmon on each side. So 1/4 of each on each side. Remind you, all those seasonings are non-salt based seasonings. So they're for flavor and not salt. So no, your jerk salmon will not be salty. Okay, because garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, and black pepper doesn't have any salt in it. All right. Then you're going to go ahead, you're going to put that on each side, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to marinate it. You're going to massage it into there. You're going to treat that salmon really good. Like, this salmon done just worked a 12-hour shift, and it came home from work and it's tired. It's not tired. It's tired. It's tired. It's tired. It's tired. And it's just need its back rubbed, and it need to be treated real good, and you need to feel loved. And that's what you're here for. You're going to show it love. You're going to make it feel good, like this salmon been paying all the bills in the house. Okay? Because when you good to that salmon like that, I'm telling you, that salmon is going to be good to you. It's going to owe you that obligation. When you put that salmon on the pot and you cook it, that salmon is going to say, I feel obligated. I got to do it. I got to do it. Okay? Just like when you've been talking to a dude, he finally fly you out to Mexico. Now you obligated. Anyway. Next, we're going to go ahead. We're going to let it sit and marinate. If you have the time, friend, let it sit for about 30 minutes to an hour. If you have the time. If you ain't got the time, oh well, put that thing right on the skillet. It's going to be okay, and it's still going to taste good, because this ain't a perfect world, and sometimes we ain't got the time. So then I went ahead. I put my pot back on the stove. I cleaned it. I put 4 tablespoons of butter, and this cheese right here is the Parmesan cheese I'm going to be using. I'm going to grate that cheese, because anytime you're making anything with cheese, it's always better if you grate your own cheese. Okay, it's gonna be more cheesier and more gooey, because the one that come in a package, I already told you guys, it has a flour substance in it that make it not as sticky. Okay, if this is the first time you watch my video, so I had to tell you. Then I went ahead and I put some the garlic that I chopped up earlier, and I put some bell peppers, all the colors. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some heavy whipping cream. I'm going to use 1 quart. And make sure when you put the butter, like in the beginning when I put the butter, the heat is not too high, like at a 5-6, because you don't want your butter to burn, because it's going to mess up the food. You don't want the butter to burn, so don't have it too high. Right now, my heat is like at a 6-7, okay? You don't want it to be too high. When we're done adding the heavy whipping cream, we're going to let it simmer. When it starts to simmer and it look like this, we're going to add a 1/2 cup of the jerk marinade. Okay, this is the same jerk marinade that we use to marinate our salmon. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put the whole thing into there. Then we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna mix everything together and let all the flavors combine. This is gonna, of course, make your Alfredo sauce start to darken up, but this is what's gonna make it a jerk pasta. Okay, we're gonna mix everything together. Then we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna add the cheese that I shredded. This is 1 cup of the Parmesan cheese, and then I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna mix it all together, and I'm gonna let that cheese dissolve into that jerk sauce that we just made, that jerk Alfredo sauce that we're making. Then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add a 1/2 cup of mozzarella cheese, and I shredded this cheese as well. I used it, the Kraft brand. You could use whatever brand you like. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna mix all that together until all the cheese has melted. Then we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna add this Parmesan Romano cheese, and I love this. It's so good. I always love to put it in my Alfredo sauce. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of that. Go ahead, just like that. And of course, we're gonna mix it all together so all the flavors could combine and become one as a unit. All right, give it a nice little mix, child. Yes. All right, then after that, we're going to add some of the jerk seasoning. So we already added the jerk marinade. So now we're going to add some of the jerk seasoning. I'm using a different one because I want it to be a little hot, because the one I used before was mild. This one is hot. So I put about, I could say like 1 tablespoon. And you guys do not worry. You already know the exact measurements and ingredients will be for you in the description box. Will be in the description box for you, should I say, okay? Then we're going to go ahead. We're going to add some black pepper. We're going to add a little bit of salt because, you know, the cheese has salt in it and the jerk marinade and the seasoning has salt in it. So we don't need to add too much salt. Then we're going to go ahead. We're going to let it thicken up a little bit like it is. When it starts to look good like that, we're going to go ahead. We're going to add our pasta. We're going to add our pasta, and then we're going to give our pasta a mix. We're going to mix it in that sauce until every single one of the pasta is well coated, okay? Until every single one of them pastas is rich with that creamy, gooey, yummy sauce, okay? Rich like I'm trying to be, okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some of the mozzarella cheese that I shredded earlier. It's 1 whole block. You should have like use half of the block for the sauce and then half of the block for the other half on the top, like I'm doing right now, okay? And then we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna mix it all together, and we're gonna let that cheese go ahead and melt into the pasta. And your heat should still be like at a 6-7, not too high, okay? Make sure you're scraping the bottom and you're just mixing it all together, and you could see how gooey that's getting. Oh Lord, yes child, you could already tell it's about to be good. Next, I went ahead, I put a skillet on the stove at medium heat, again 6-7, and I put my salmon right onto the stove. That's all I did, right onto the skillet, okay? And I'm using my big skillet Eddie, okay? You guys know I have the 3 Ninja frying pans at Ed and Eddie, and this is the big boy Eddie, okay? Then I went ahead and I put about 1 tablespoon of butter. You want to put the butter because sometimes the jerk seasoning like to get stuck to the bottom of the pan a little bit, but that's why I like to add the butter, and plus give it a little bit of flavor, okay? So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna let that cook. We're gonna let the salmon cook for like 7 to 8 minutes on each side. Do not overcook your salmon unless that's how you like it. If you like overcooked salmon, then baby, go ahead and overcook that salmon. But if you don't, then go ahead and let it cook for 7 to 8 minutes on each side. Then when it's done cooking on one side, you're going to go ahead, you're going to flip it over and let the other side cook. And you guys, you see how I'm putting all that extra seasoning? That seasoning was on the little aluminum foil tray that I made. I'm scraping the aluminum foil tray and getting all the seasoning in it so I can make sure the salmon have all of that, okay? Then we're gonna go ahead, we're flipping them. You guys, I'm telling you, flipping salmon ain't no joke. Flipping salmon, they will give you a run for your money. Be gentle and take your time, friend. You can do it. I have faith in you and I believe in you. But it is kind of hard. I ain't gonna lie to you. I do have another kind of spatula where I could just pick it up. It's long and I could just be able to pick it up with one spatula. But that spatula, it's not good for the kind of pan that I have. It's gonna scrape it up. So I have to use these 2 little spatulas that I have. And the reason I'm using 2 spatulas is because I don't want, when I'm picking up the salmon, for half of it to be hanging off of the spatula, because then it can break and I don't want that business, okay? I'm just waiting for the boss. I don't want that business, okay? All right, then we're putting more of the seasoning, like I said, on the top of the salmon, okay? I went ahead and I let that cook 6 to 7 minutes on each side. Then I went ahead and I wanted to give them one more flip just because I wanted to be on the prettier side, okay? And you could go ahead and let it cook for 1 to 2 minutes, all depend on you. And when your salmon is done cooking, you're going to go ahead and you're going to remove it from the skillet and you're going to set it on the side, okay? And just right about here, the salmon is done, okay? The salmon is done. We could go ahead and remove it. We're going to put it on a plate and we're going to just go ahead and set it to the side. And just like that, you guys, you're going to go ahead and you're going to start plating because you're done. The salmon was the last thing you had to do. You're done, and boom, just like that, you have salmon jerk pasta. Oh, child, it don't get no better than that. You see how creamy that pasta look, and that salmon, it just looks so delicioso, okay? Delicioso. I took Spanish for 2 years and that's the only thing I know, and that's because of Dora the Explorer. Hey, I'm trying to tell you. Oh, child, it looks so good, okay? Don't even lie, friend. Don't be a hater all your life. You know this thing look good, and let me tell you something, it tastes better than it look. Huh? I'm trying to tell you. Thank you guys for watching. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye. Until next time.